Welcome back to the Map for College learning community. My name is Ernest Manelli, founder of Map for College. This video will express thoughts about the distribution of schools on your prospective application list. Specifically, I believe that having something approaching a 1-to-2 ratio of reach schools to target schools, or even a 1-to-3 ratio, somewhere between a 1-to-2 and a 1-to-3 ratio of reach schools to target schools really does represent an opportunity for you to have the most optimal prospects to receive multiple offers. And you notice I didn't say any safety schools. Now, to me, let's define terms. To me, a safety school is a school to which you would apply with very positive overlap of the metrics. In fact, you would meet or exceed the data metrics for admission for that particular school. But in my mind, a safety school is not just a school where you meet the numbers very well, if not exceed the numbers very well. But a safety school to me has the implication that it might not be the right fit match-wise for you, for your goals, either personally or academically, for whatever reason, whatever combination of reasons. Might be a great school, but it just might not be the right school for you. So I think instead of applying for a safety school, which is essentially like keeping a third quarterback on your roster, instead of applying to a safety school, why not increase the amount of schools you have at the target level? Now, let's define the term target school. A target school, in my book, is a school where you meet many of the metrics. You may not meet all of the metrics, but you are a competitive candidate based on recently admitted students that have gained admission, based on, let's say, the 25th to 75th percentile of the average grade point average, of the average test scores if you're submitting scores. So, in other words, you fit the metrics for the most part. There's a good deal of overlap. There's not complete overlap. So a target school could be something that's more of a softer target in the sense that it might be closer to a safety school numerically, still a target, but closer to a safety school numerically, but it's a school that you would actually really find alignment and really find accord and find confluence with. So in that instance, a soft target would be different than a safety, because a safety would imply that it's there just for backup reasons, just for insurance reasons. So to me, a soft target is where you meet many of the metrics and you actually have an interest in attending the school if offered admission. Now, a higher level target, sort of approaching a reach, might be a school where you meet a good deal of the metrics, but there are certain key points where you might be making a little bit of a reach toward that school. But again, the interest, the affinity, the ability to find a sense of harmony and confidence and confluence with the school, that would be high if it's a target school on your list, because it's a school to which you would be excited to attend, you know? Now, a reach school, oftentimes reach schools tend to be our favorites. They're right up on the top shelf and we just try to climb as high as we can to get them. And reach schools have great merit. Everybody has their own notion of what a reach school is. To me, a reach school is where you meet some of the data points, but not all, and the admissions numbers are so competitive that even if you met all of the data metrics for admission, you would still be up against significant odds because there's so many ways to fill an incoming freshman class with really exciting, really qualified, really outgoing students. So to me, a reach is something where you have to know going in that even if your data metrics are outstanding, you still might get the rejection letter. You still might get the rejection notice. And if you can handle that, now if you can't handle a no from one of your reach schools, reconsider whether you should apply to that school. Because I tell students all the time, there was a student who was recently discussing the prospect of applying to a certain Ivy League school that had approximately a 6% admissions rate. And this student is an excellent student. This student is top 15% of the graduating class to be, National Honor Society, great student, solid all around. So we came to the discussion of this particular Reach school. And this is a student who goes to a school where they still do class rank. So even if this student just knocks the ball out of the park senior year, this student's class rank is probably going to be somewhere between maybe 12 to 15%. This student may bump up from 15%, maybe to like 13% or 12%, but still unlikely to crack the top 10% just numerically because of the students that are in front of the student positionally with GPA. So I mentioned to the student, I said, well, just expect that this might be an uphill climb. You might have to be very creative with your approach and show something unique that's of value. And we were talking numerics, and I said, don't be surprised, because if you're expecting to be the top 6% of international applicants and national applicants to the school, if you're expecting to be the top 6%, yet you're only the top 15%. Now, the top 15% of your high school, that's great. But if you're trying to be the top 6% of the entire applicant pool for the school, and you're not the top 6% of your high school, then it's a conversation to have where you say, okay, if I apply, I have to understand that the statistics might be stacked against me, but if you really like the school and you really feel like you could be a competitive candidate, it's more a reflection that you have to make introspectively. If you firmly believe that you're a competitive candidate, then go for it, but just keep your eyes open in terms of expectations. The last thing a student wants to do is just have this, just glowing vision that all these schools are going to say yes. Even the greatest students on paper nowadays get rejected by a few schools. It happens. It's just the statistics. If I applied in this environment, 2023, 2024, if I were applying from my same credentials, just sort of retrofitting it to the 2023 education world, instead of having an extremely high rate of acceptance to a lot of schools, I might break even. I might hit 60%. I may, I wouldn't be up in the 80, 90% acceptance rate for my schools. It just wouldn't happen because there's that much more competition, that many more students applying, that many more students with qualifications, that many more students who have done their homework. The democratization of information through the World Wide Web and the ability to get information about schools that are outside your region, it's really changed the game. So here's what I would say to students. Try to make a 1-to-2 ratio or a 1-to-3 ratio. For example, if you're applying to 3 Reach schools, consider applying to 6 to 9 target schools, because 3 to 6 would be a 1-to-2 ratio and 3 to 9 would be a 1-to-3 ratio. So in that scenario, you would apply to between 9 and 12 schools. The reason I say try to fortify your targets is that that's where the bulk of your admissions offers will come. That's where the highest potential exists in many cases for merit-based financial aid. And so if you're looking at giving yourself the most favorable opportunity to have multiple choices, try to balance your approach with a 1-to-2 or a 1-to-3 ratio of 1 reach, 2 targets, or 1 reach and 3 targets. Because the more you fortify your targets, the better your prospects will be numerically. So that's the number crunching of admissions, and that's a rule of thumb I've found to have worked very well throughout the years for many students. So once again, feel free to reach us, 781-925-0121. Feel free to email me, guidance@mapforcollege.com. Visit us on the web, www.mapforcollege.com. Thanks for watching this video. Have a fantastic day.